Yo, what the fuck is up? Just for the record, I'm just straight up gonna talk about bullshit. Hey, so this past few weeks, I've kind of get in touch with boredom lately, and it is down to the fact that usually I am very bored. Now, the reason I'm bored is because of many things. I mean, sometimes you just spend your day and you just don't do anything, and at sometimes you can just watch a movie or play a video game or talk to your friends, etc. But sometimes even that gets boring, and so because of that I have I've stated in the previous videos as well, one of the things that I do is just sit bored and do nothing. And when you just sit like that and just stare at the wall like a maniac, you tend to get thoughts. And the type of thoughts that you get usually depend on many different factors, like the situation of your life currently, or just what's happening to you in that present moment. But for me, I've kind of just been having the same exact thoughts, and not because they're new, but because they've been with me for such a long time that I'm just unable to really circumvent them or completely remove them. But they're telling me a very, very important signal that I think that we all should be listening to. And that's what exactly I'm going to be sharing with you today. Before I begin the video, if you want some help on your self-improvement journey, there are links down in the description. Now let's continue on. So one of the most common thoughts that I usually have, which randomly pops up sometimes, is, am I doing enough? Let's say I'm sitting and just doing nothing. I might be reading a book or playing chess or something of that sort. And then suddenly that thought just pops up. Like, am I doing enough? Am I doing something that I should be doing for my life right now? And the reason I have that thought is actually very, very simple reason for that. Well, I make self-improvement videos, or at least I'm trying to. And I'm trying to teach you guys from lessons and failures that I had so that you don't repeat them and you just go ahead of me. So, because of that, I also hold up myself with a pretty high standard. And when I just have that thought of like, okay, I imagine myself as this kind of person, when I think that I'm not doing that or I'm not being in line with that, that's when I start to get those thoughts. When I feel like I am procrastinating or not moving towards something, that's when I get those thoughts. And in reality, I've noticed that it is actually an intrusive thought. You know, people call it like imposter syndrome or something like that. Or I'm just be completely mistaken about it. But that kind of thought that you get is like, am I doing enough? This, and that. It is in a way that your inner perfectionist trying to always be on top of the game all the time. And I say this constantly, always, every single time, and I'm going to say it again until it's imprinted in your fucking brain that you're 100% and you being on top of your game every single day looks completely different. When one day you could do 100 pull-ups, shit, you're tired the next day. You cannot do 100 pull-ups in a row. Maybe you can do 80 or just do 100 push-ups instead. You feel what I'm saying? Like, sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves that we need to perform this way every single time, every single day. And you've been told that by through different YouTube videos or influencers that this is how it should be. They tell you like you should be robotic every single day, grinding things out. But the reality is, in long term, that is completely unsustainable. Now, if you live and build a life that will actually help you to live a certain kind of way in a very routine manner, then sure. And you should build a routine that is not only quite comfortable, but also sort of challenges you and pushes you to be better every single day. Now, that's a great way to do a routine and be routinic. But you don't have to be robotic because of it. And what a lot of people advocate for is being like robots. And I noticed that about myself because I was quite influenced and quite inspired by different self-improvement YouTubers on YouTube. and different influencers, of course, and the way they talk is so out of touch with the reality of an average person everyday life. It's actually quite unbelievable. Um, and they come from a quite a privileged position to be in the state where they are in. But of course, a lot of them had to work for it, so I'm not going to beat them down. In fact, I'm going to praise them for that because they got themselves to a point where they could be that way. But they speak as if everybody has to be on their level, which is quite false because not everyone has the same exact conditions, pretexts, or conditions to achieve the exact things that they did. Quite simple. And because of that, I've been trying to abandon that idea of like constantly questioning myself as if like, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? And that is not a bad thought in itself, but it can be quite intrusive and quite debilitating if you get into it too much. You need to stop thinking about it and you just keep moving forward. That is the best way to deal with your self improvement, okay? You don't think too much, you just do stuff, you learn stuff, and you move on. Another sort of thoughts that come into my mind when I just am bored is about the wasted time that I've just accumulated over the years. And we have to define what we mean by wasted time. So, wasted time for me is something that doesn't add anything to the quality of life that you're living. Simple. So, for me, for example, spending time with your friends is not a waste of time. It is actually a quality of life improvement because you can have a quite vibrant group of friends, which will be beneficial to you to live longer and also live happier. But for example, laying down and watching Netflix for 12 hours a day is a wasted time because you're not doing anything. And in fact, about minute 30, you already are quite mindlessly just looking and scrolling at something else. So that is a wasted time. And so those are the times that I usually think about when I think about wasted time in my life. Now, I haven't had much. I'm only 24 years old. And so I don't necessarily have, that much of the wasted time, but I do. I used to be a gamer. I used to play a lot of video games. I still sometimes find myself wanting to play games, a lot of it. But of course, I got responsibilities. I got life, as you can believe it. Um, I do stuff in life that actually improve my quality of life. So I just instead choose to deal with that than just to play video games. But from time to time, I guess once a month for like 2 hours is like fine. But even then, it's like I feel quite odd about myself. But anyway, when I was a teenager, oh God, I mean, I played a lot of video games. And I would say, do I regret it? Sort of. Because I could have done so much more if I just got off my ass from the PC, from my crunchy ass chair, and just did something else in my life besides, clicking on fucking enemies and shooting them. you know, and sure, I have a lot of good memories from that, especially playing online with friends, quote unquote friends. But actually, no, I'm quite still friends with them to this day, so I wouldn't call them quote unquote friends. I won't. Um, I still have good memories from that time period, but I realize now that it has cost me more than I imagined, especially in my university and just in my private life in general, to be honest, because it made me very secluded away from actual real life friends. And because of that, I kind of had to find a new one to hang around with or to be part of. And so, in the end, everything turned out fine, to be honest. But if I started earlier, when I was like 15, 16, 17, like self improvement stuff, then at the age of 24, now I would be much more ahead than I was or am right now. But it doesn't matter. I don't really beat myself up for it too much. It's just kind of like facing the fact that you just wasted a lot of time. But that's not something that you can ever get back. So I just don't really spend too much emotions really pondering upon it and just kind of living my life right now. And I'm enjoying my fucking life, to be honest. Um, sure, things could be different and I could have more. And I, used like, oh, I wish I had, more of this or more of that. And I could travel the world and stuff. And to be honest, all of that can still be done at any age, not just like at teenage years or in your 20s, but in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. When you have really solidified your position in life, and when everything you have has been accomplished, then all you really have to do is just to goddamn enjoy it. But the thing is, the grind itself and the self-improvement itself is such a good of an enjoyment by itself that there's a reason why I don't beat myself up for it, because now I'm in the stage of my life where I just feel happy about grinding myself out, about improving myself and going through these difficult times, because, well, God allowed that to happen. And so whatever God does cannot be evil. And in the end, every difficult period has a huge silver lining in you becoming stronger, better, smarter, wiser, etc. So I'm just thankful that it's happening to me right now. Sure, I could be grieving about the fact that it should have been happening earlier, but that I was a different person back then. I'm not the same person now. So that's really about it. Today was a bit of a yap fest. I haven't made a video on this channel for about a couple weeks because life got in the way. Shit happens. You can't really avoid that. And I also kind of wanted to make a bit of a laid back video like this, simply because I missed making YouTube videos and I'm a bit giddy up about it. So I hope this video wasn't too fast for you, because I spoke too fast. I think I spoke too fast at least. But I hope you learned a couple things from me, from the thoughts that I have randomly, and I still have plenty more, and I can make more videos like this in the future. So there are links down in the description if you need help with your self-improvement journey. I put a lot of effort into 2 of those products that you can find down in the description, one of them which is for free. So don't miss out on that. And for now, I'll see you in the next video. Get out of here.